Hey guys, Dreaded Wraith here, bringing you an updated video. I've noticed that my old tier list has been given some extra views recently, and people have been commenting on it. Shout out to Sneakerhead TV, who's actually asked for an updated tier list, which is what we're here for today. I'm going to be taking the new killers and making an updated tier list for Dead by Daylight Mobile. So thanks for everyone that's been subscribing recently, and again, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button, it helps the channel out. So let's get into it. The first thing I'm going to do is, obviously I'm taking a tier list here that has killers that aren't in DVD Mobile, so the first thing we're going to do, unfortunately, is move these into not in DVD Mobile. So we don't have the Blight, we don't have the Gunslinger, we don't have the Nemesis. And then after that, I think we're looking pretty much good. So let's start out from the top, and let's just pick one here. Let's pick our favorite, the Trapper. So Trapper is still not in a great place. I don't think he's F tier, but he's certainly by no means in a good place in the current meta. He takes too long to set up, and that really affects him. Too many gens are gone by the time he gets his power going, so for me, D tier. Which is a shame, because I love the Trapper. Alright, next up we have the Wraith. Now the Wraith had a buff recently, which means his add-ons have been improved and he's actually a bit faster now. He still, however, suffers in a chase, so he's not F. I don't think he's D, but because of that chase potential and the lack of mind game ability, that slow down when you're coming out of the bell, the direction that it shows that you're coming from if you don't have certain add-ons, for me makes him a C tier killer. But the reason he's above Trapper is he has that map pressure because of the speed he can go when he's cloaked. So for me, C tier. Next up, the Hillbilly. Hillbilly, still in a dodgy position after he was nerfed, but for me, in the right hands, if you practice with him a lot, he's B tier. I think he's B tier, easily B tier. Okay, the Hag. Okay, now you all know I think very highly of the Hag, so let's keep going up here. Is she B tier? Is she A tier? Again, I think with a Hag, if you get her in the right position and you learn how to play it properly, because I see a lot of Hags that don't know how to play it properly, then she can be devastating. You set a web of traps up, you're not bothered if you lose 4 gens. So for me, S tier all the way. S tier every single day of the week. Alright, Nurse. Now, Nurse I was quite critical of before because of the controls in mobile, and I put her, I believe, in A tier. In reflection, I think in the right hands, a right nurse that practices and mains her, she's S, double S tier, all the way, no question asked. The right nurse, if you're new to the game, or even if you've just been playing as standard killers, then she'll feel like F tier for you, easily feel like an F tier killer. But if you main her and you practice, for me, double S tier every single day of the week. She is the strongest killer in the game. Or joint second, should I say, but we'll come back to that. Alright, let's pick another one from the middle here. Let's go Oni. Where does the Oni fit in? Well, Oni last time I put in the A tier, and I've got to be honest, I stand by that. You have a bit of a rough start being only basic attack killer, but once you get your ability, the damage that you can do is unbelievable. And in the current meta, with the boon totems, slugging is very much a tactic that killers are starting to do. And unfortunately, I know it's not something I like to do, but it is a tactic. And for that reason, because he's a very slug heavy killer, I think he's the bottom end of S, like very bottom end of S, sort of high end A, bottom end S is where I feel he sits, because his ability to just slug around the map, I mean, you can get all 4 survivors down in no time at all. So yeah, Oni, incredibly strong. Alright, let's pick another one. Let's go with the Clown. Okay, so Clown's had some buffs now, and he's had a rework to his bottle mechanic. So he's got two types of bottle. He's got the usual one, which slows survivors down. He's got a yellow one, which as you walk through it, or the survivor does, it speeds you up. Because of this, I don't think he's as bad as he was, but he still has his problems. The reload of the bottles are too slow. If you use the auto aim function, then it just ruins you. Because you end up throwing the bottles not where you want. So for me, he's not D tier, but he is C tier. Alright. Controversial one now, Ghostface. Before I said he was B tier. The more and more I play Ghostface, the more and more I realise how weak his power is. When you get taken out of your power against, say, a strong team, all they've got to do is follow you around and look at you. And for that reason, I made him B tier before, but I actually think he's C. Now, high-end C, don't get me wrong. Move Wraith, move Clam. He's high-end C tier, but too weak. I think he needs to be harder to break him out of his stealth. If you miss an attack, you're broken out of your stealth. There's too many things, and his stalking mechanic, it takes too long. Against a good team, you'll be rendered powerless, essentially, in this current meta. Okay, so let's go Leatherface. Last time I put him next to the Hillbilly, and I'm going to do the same thing again in B tier. Leatherface better than Hillbilly, in my opinion. Yes, he doesn't have that map pressure, but he ends chases quicker. If you catch a survivor not round a loop, it's an insta-down every time with Leatherface, but at a loop, if you don't get your chainsaw wrong, you bump into it, you go into a tantrum, and the tantrum's too long, and they get away. For me, still B tier. Okay, let's have a look at the Pig. Now, Pig, last time I think I was harsh, I put her in D tier. I think Pig's actually stronger for the moment with the boon totems. So survivors are going around setting up boons to be able to slow the game down with the traps. I think C tier. Definite improvement, shouldn't be D. I was harsh. I've changed my mind. I think the Pig is C tier. Again, the reason for not being higher is the lunge is... The growl needs to go away with the lunge for me. Some of the add-ons just don't make sense at all, or just aren't very good. But that slowdown mechanic with the head traps is good. So C tier. Alright, let's go for Huntress. Huntress in the right hands with a bit of practice. Now that the mobile version, the red markers have been changed, so it's not telling you which direction she's coming in, I think A tier. The size of the maps are quite small, so that slowdown of her walking speed doesn't affect her. And in the right hands, the hatchets are devastating. A tier. Okay, the shape. This one's always a controversial one because I absolutely love Myers. I think because of the small map pool, he is at the bottom end of A tier for me. Very bottom end. High B, low A. I'll put him in A just because I love Myers. If there was more maps, he'd start to drop down. If there were larger maps, he'd drop down further. But because of the small map pool and the fact that they're not overly large maps, I think A tier, bottom of A is fair. Okay, now we're starting to run out of killers here. This one's always a controversial one as well, the Legion. Legion for me with the boon meta is really struggling. Again, the ability to go round and track and injure people, but by the time you've injured someone, the boon's up, they've healed, or when they've mended, then they've healed, and you have no power to down. Bottom end of D tier for me. Bottom end of D tier. I know that there are people who love Legion, and I think he's a fun killer to play, but power-wise, weak and definitely needs a buff. Okay. let's go with Pyramid Head. I think you all know where I'm going with this one. Pyramid Head is one of my favourite killers from one of my favourite franchises. I think he's strong. I think some of his add-ons are a bit meh. But definitely, I think here, bottom end of S. Pyramid Head. That ranged attack, the ability to cancel DS with the cage, and with that sort of insta final kill when they're on the last hook, as long as they're tormented. The tracking ability of the torment, unbelievable. He's an absolutely unbelievable killer. And do I think he's better than Oni? No, I think they're level to on par. They're sort of around here, but bottom end of S, very high end of A. For me, S tier. Absolutely love him. Now, my boy Demo. You can't really get him anymore, but for those people that do have him, they've improved him vastly. His add-ons to be able to shred through pallets are much, much better. And so for that reason, I'm bottom end of A. Bottom end of A. The ability to shred through pallets and his ability to put portals down and move across the map, bottom end of A. I know some people aren't going to like that, but I love him. He's incredible. And I love the fact that he got buffed before the license disappeared. I just do. Right, let's go with the twins now. One of the newer killers. Twins promote a camping play style. I don't like that. I think the problem is you can see the red markers when Victor is released and when he's going to lunge. I think they're poor. I think, are they better than Legion or are they on par? I think that I don't like the camping play style, so it's lower end of D. Lower end of D, awful. Just not fun for me to play as. Doesn't promote my play style. I like a hit and run move, keeping pressure all over the map, and twins just don't allow that for me. I think they're in a bad spot. The add-ons are awful. Bottom end of D. Final decision. Let's go with the Doctor. Now, Doctor is my favourite killer to play out of all of them, so I'm going to try and not be completely biased and stick him straight here at the top of double S tier, because I would rather play Doctor over any other killer any day of the week. I love the tracking mechanic, keeping the pressure on the game, shocking people off gens, getting the shock at a pallet before they can drop it for that anti-loop, that shock before a save at a hook when I'm going back. Love the guy, but if people throw pallets down early, if you throw pallets down early and loot well, the Doctor is in trouble, and for that reason I think he's probably there just under the Huntress in A tier. Shame, because I like him. Let's go with, this will be a controversial one, Plague. I've actually started playing more Plague recently and quite liked her. Now, before she was in C tier, in about the middle, and I think that's harsh now, because the buff to give her the corrupted pool at the start and the add-on that gives you a second pool means you don't have to go round just infecting everyone first. You can get an aggressive playstyle. Also means you can stamp a boon totem out and then throw up on it, which then prevents more time. And some of our add-ons add like 40 seconds to the puke that's on the environment. So for me, A tier now. Seriously, with the boon meta, check out the Plague. I think she's vastly underrated. And if you play an aggressive playstyle with her, she's terrifying. Absolutely terrifying. So I definitely recommend Plague, and I think she's bottom end of A tier. Now we're getting to some of the new killers, and obviously the Spirit left, but I'm going to go for Freddy now. Now Freddy is a very easy pick up and play style. He's got anti-loop with his traps, or he's got confusion, mind games with the fake pallets, and he can also teleport to gens, which is unbelievable how much he's got. He's an interesting killer to play, although quite easy. So for me, S tier, probably above the Oni, below the Hag. Now, Trickster. Where do I start with the Trickster? If there was an ass tier in this list, he would be below that. I would rather he not be in mobile. He is awful. The controls don't work great with him. His add-ons aren't great. Perks, one of his perks is alright, Starstruck, but he moves slow. His knives, you know, if you lose them in a chase, that's it. All that work is gone. You waste far too much time with him. He is the least fun I have had playing a killer. I got him to level 40 and I never want to play him again. He is awful. I would recommend only getting him for his perks. I hated him. Alright then. Let's go with the Spirit. She's been in here a while before we go with Pinhead. And you know where I'm going. I don't need to say any more about Spirit. You could continue to nerf her into the ground. She'll still be incredibly strong. The red marks in mobile mean that you can see, essentially, where they are. In strong hands, she's nigh unstoppable. I think I've only ever lost one game as Spirit, and that was a very, very organised 4-man squad, and I made a lot of mistakes. And I still think I managed to get 1 or 2 of them. You know, she is unbelievable. If you want a very high tier, easy killer to play and pick up, Spirit. You know, straight away, pick Spirit. Not a lot of learning needed. Once you've figured out the marking, nigh unstoppable in strong hands. Okay, so now brings me on to the very last one and the latest killer, Pinhead. So let's go up this rank. Now, Pinhead has a lot of incredible abilities. He is basically, his ability to down is a little bit struggling. I think his hook that he sends out is pointless. I think the time that you gain from that's pretty bad, but the key that makes Pinhead stronger is the fact that it gives the survivors a second objective. It's that going and needing to find the box, and then if they don't, then they start to get the anti-loot mechanics in, because then they get slowed down. And for that reason, he's definitely S tier, probably around about there. He would be even higher if his chain wasn't as bad, but that chain hunt when the box is needs to be solved, just unbelievable. If somebody picks the box up and runs around with it, well, that's 3 survivors that are doing things, but that's 1 that isn't. Their job is to run around with the box. So for me, S tier all the way. And that's it. That's everyone. Let me know in the comments if you agree with this tier list, or if you disagree with it. I'm always happy to change my mind on things. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.